Now imagine that everyone on Earth decides to skip the next 10 centuries. The entire population of Earth goes down into special underground bunkers. Everyone lies down on their comfortable beds. The last person sets the alarm clock for 1,000 years later and closes their eyes. Everyone says goodnight to millions of assistant robots which will stick close to their sleeping owners. They monitor their status and observe what happens to Earth. Thus, people don't need to leave anyone behind to look after our civilization. Houses, offices, and all cities across the globe are handed over to Mother Nature. Just one day into the sleep, power plants worldwide begin to shut down. Lights in cities go out. There is no TV or internet now. The only light left on the planet is Las Vegas, which will use electricity from a hydroelectric plant that can continue to operate unsupervised for a while. But nobody is gathering there anymore, and the neon lights shine down on empty streets. A week later, raccoons start appearing inside people's homes. With no one to shoo them away, they climb into trash cans and find their way to your refrigerator. In fact, they are now the owners of your house. Pets would struggle to survive without care for even a week. But luckily, everyone took their pets down into the bunkers to sleep with them. Who wouldn't want a long nap with their cat in their arms? Without electricity, refrigerators in supermarkets and restaurants will stop working. Food and groceries will soon begin to spoil. The smell attracts many different kinds of scavengers and pests. 1 month has passed since the Great Sleep began. Nature is gradually creeping into the major cities, and I don't just mean plants. The plants in old gardens realize the fences around them are no longer electrified. Now they dominate the towns, walking the streets in search of prey. 1 year later, without humans, ports around the world become chaotic. Ropes fray and huge cargo ships drift away from the docks. Some ships crash into each other or collide with bridges. And when the rats on cruise ships eat up the leftover food, they start fighting with seagulls for the pile of smelly fish. 5 years into the sleep, our cities are unrecognizable. Vines and ivy have covered buildings. Various types of trees have turned concrete streets into gardens. You can no longer hear the endless car horns or the music from advertisements in Times Square. There is only the sound of birds chirping and the wind rustling. And Las Vegas has long stopped glowing. Typically, astronauts control and adjust the orbit of the International Space Station, ISS. But they have returned to Earth to sleep with everyone. The ISS enters Earth's atmosphere and falls back to the ground. Years. Everyone has had countless amazing dreams, but the real world is changing rapidly. Dams and hydroelectric plants near large cities are starting to collapse due to lack of maintenance. Water overflows and floods houses. Puddles and strange new residents are appearing all over our cities. Within 30 years, we will lose London and Amsterdam. These cities were built on low-lying areas and kept dry by drainage systems. But now nature has taken over and the streets are beginning to sink. Over time, the silent world still witnesses large fireworks displays. No one is celebrating anything. The problem is that wildfires are getting out of control, and sometimes they spread to old warehouses full of fireworks. The result is quite spectacular, but there is no audience to admire it. If you look up at the night sky, you will see meteor showers. These are not caused by rocks from outer space, but by artificial satellites that have fallen back to Earth. With no human guidance, many satellites burn up in the atmosphere. Surprisingly, 50 years after everyone on Earth went to sleep, you can still hear human voices. That is thanks to the parrots that are old enough to remember us. The parrots we once kept are still alive, and they repeat some of the phrases we once used. Years. We have only gone 10% through our sleep, but the world already looks as if we disappeared centuries ago. Erosion, along with earthquakes, is destroying some of our greatest achievements. The Golden Gate Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge have collapsed. Big Ben, the Eiffel Tower, and other famous buildings will all be severely damaged after a century. Even incredible works of art like the Mona Lisa are slowly disappearing. Microscopic bacteria begin to eat that timeless painting, plus insects find ways to infiltrate the painting's glass casing. In 150 years, nearly a third of the world's skyscrapers will be destroyed. Subway tunnels will collapse. Washington, D.C. will gradually vanish, and Los Angeles will become a real savanna with large herds of elephants roaming around. 100 years into the sleep, all the storage devices that people once used to save information will be damaged beyond repair. Without flash drives, CDs, or paper records, humanity's history and culture will be lost. By then, almost all cars on Earth will be destroyed due to the environment, but the flat tires will continue to decompose for many more centuries. The Leaning Tower of Pisa looks a bit too slanted, 100 years into the sleep. Very few buildings remain on the planet. The Statue of Liberty has been destroyed. Washington, D.C. has become a swamp, and New York has turned into a marshland. The ruins of Venice lie completely underwater. And now, reaching the final milestone, our planet has lived without human activity for exactly 1,000 years. Major cities are nothing but green ruins. Most buildings are just piles of concrete rubble. But amazingly, structures built thousands of years ago remain intact. The pyramids of Giza and the Great Wall of China still stand. The only remaining technology created by humans will be the moon rovers. 7 such units built by different nations are still intact on the moon. In fact, the rovers on the moon and Mars will remain for over 1 million years and are mostly uncorroded. They will become the only evidence that our civilization once existed. The alarm clock finally rings. Everyone wakes up and stretches after a long sleep. Their bunkers maintained a perfect climate, and they have everything necessary to support life. Everyone goes up to the surface to see what has become of their world. Of course, everyone knew the planet would be taken over by nature when they went to sleep. Now, they face the challenge of rebuilding everything. They have enough technology and knowledge remaining in the bunker to do it. But why did they go to sleep for 1,000 years? Humanity agreed that it was time for the planet to rest a little. The atmosphere, oceans, animals, and plants all became healthier and cleaner. The worldwide sleep provided benefits like a trip to a wellness spa. Wild animal populations returned to normal, and all our plastic waste has decomposed. However, there is still a lot of toxic waste buried across the planet that will persist for several thousand more years. Humans have another chance to make everything right. What will they do with this second chance? Hey, if you learned something new today, then give this video a like and share it with your friends now. And here are a few other fun videos for you. Choose the left or right video, click on it, and enjoy the journey with comparisons.